So for part 2, we are to discuss finding the derivative of a function in basic calculus STEM 003. Okay, balikan natin ang saglit kung ano na-discuss natin no part 1, which is the derivative. The derivative is the slope of the line tangent to a curve at a certain point. And symbol, we have dy over dx equal to the limit of f of x plus delta x minus f of x all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. So we could use the definition of the derivative in order for us to find the derivative of a function. So now let's have the steps in finding the derivative of a function. For step 1, in the given equation, let f of x equal to y. To find f of x plus delta x, replace x by x plus delta x and simplify. For step 2, substitute the values of f of x and f of x plus delta x to the definition of the derivative. For step 3, subtract the values of f of x from f of x plus delta x. For step 4, divide the numerator by the denominator delta x. And for step 5, find the limit as delta x approaches to 0. We will be using the steps in finding the derivative of a function. For the first given, we have y is equal to 3x plus 6. So for our step 1, we have f of x and f of x plus delta x. So ang ating f of x ay 3x plus 6. Kung nakikita nyo, yung given natin ay the same sa f of x. Kasi ang ating abscissa or ang ating x-coordinate ay hindi naman nagbago. Pero kung titingnan nyo dito sa f of x plus delta x, yung abscissa natin naging x plus delta x. So ang mangyari dyan ay 3x. So we will substitute x by x plus delta x. So it will be 3 times x plus delta x. Then we will copy the constant 6. Simplifying this using distributive property, it will be 3x plus 3 delta x plus 6. So we will proceed to step 2. So using the definition of the derivative. So we will substitute f of x plus delta x and f of x with their corresponding values. Kasi nakuha na natin sila kanina. So ang mangyayari dyan, the limit of, ano ba yung f of x plus delta x? 3x plus 3 delta x plus 6. Ayan. Minus the f of x. So, ano ba yung f of x? 3x plus 6. So, minus 3x plus 6 all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Kung nakikita nyo yung denominator, hindi naman nagbabago. We'll just copy the denominator. Okay? Next, for step 3, we will simplify what we have here. Kung titingnan nyo yung f of x natin, we can distribute negative 1 to f of x. So, ang mangyari dyan ay for step 3, the limit of 3x plus 3 delta x plus 6. So, kinopya lang natin minus 3x plus 6, minus 6 all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. So, dinistribute natin yung negative 1. Simplifying this, ano kaya yung pwede nating masubtract? Okay, yung 3x minus 3x and 6 minus 6. So, 3x minus 3x and 6 minus 6. It will give us all 0. Okay, so ang matitira natin ay the limit of 3 delta x all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Pwede pa ba yan i-simplify? Pwede pa. Using division. So, 3 delta x all over delta x. So, using division, delta x over delta x, it will give you 1. Ayan. So, ang magiging sagot natin ay, for step 4, the limit of 3 as delta x approaches to 0. Okay? Now, we will substitute delta x by their corresponding value. Dahil wala naman tayong delta x, 3 na lang yung natitira. Kung nakikita nyo, wala nang delta x dyan. So, ang magiging sagot ay 3 kasi wala naman tayong na-substitute na delta x. So, 3 is the derivative of the function y is equal to 3x plus 6 at any point in the graph. For the next example, we have y is equal to 4 over x. Kung nakikita nyo, meron tayong fraction. Okay? Ang ating step 1 is to find the f of x and f of x plus delta x. Ang ating f of x ay 4 over x. At ang ating f of x plus delta x ay 4 over x. We will substitute x by x plus delta x. It will be 4 over x plus delta x. Okay? Using the definition of the derivative, ayan, we will substitute f of x plus delta x and f of x by their corresponding values. It will be the limit of, ang ating f of x plus delta x ay 4 over x plus delta x minus our f of x, which is 4 over x. So, minus 4 over x all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Kung nakikita nyo, we have a complex fraction here. In order for us to simplify the complex fraction, para masimplify natin yan, we need to simplify first the numerator. Kasi, kung nakikita nyo, meron tayong fractions sa numerator. Kasi pag sinabi natin complex fraction, is either the numerator or the denominator are fractions, or pwede silang parehas. Kung sa case natin, yung numerator natin ay fraction. So, simplify muna natin yung numerator. So, dahil meron tayong subtraction dito, we need to subtract the numerators. So, the two dissimilar fractions, so dahil dissimilar fractions yan, hanapin muna natin yung LCD. Ano ba yung LCD niyan? Ang LCD niyan ay yung product nung denominator. So, ang mangyayari dyan, the limit of x plus delta x times x. So, kung nakikita nyo, product yan ng denominators ng two dissimilar fractions. Okay? Simplifying this, so x plus delta x multiplied by x divided by x plus delta x. Pag dinivide natin yan, mawawala si x plus delta x at ang matitira ay si x. So, bakit nawala? Kasi pag dinivide natin yan, x plus delta x divided by x plus delta x will give you 1. Okay? Yung x na natira ay multiply kay numerator 4. Okay? Minus, we'll have the LCD, x plus delta x times x divided by the denominator of the second dissimilar fraction. Ayan, divided by x. So, pag dinivide natin yan, ang matitira ay x plus delta x multiply by the numerator 4. Okay? All over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Next, since parehas na yung denominator ng two dissimilar fractions, naging similar fractions na sila, so pwede na natin silang i-subtract. Okay? Paano ba natin yan i-subtract? So, the limit of, we will copy the denominator x plus delta x all over x plus delta x times x, and we will subtract the numerators. So, it will be 4x minus 4 multiplied by x plus delta x all over delta x approaches to 0. Okay? Simplifying the numerator using distributive property, we will distribute negative 4 to x plus delta x. So, it will be the limit of 4x minus, ayan, minus 4x plus, ayan, minus 4 delta x over x plus delta x times x all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Kung nakikita yung numerator ng ating numerator, pwede pa nating masimplify. Kasi we have 4x minus 4x. So, it will give you 0. So, ang matitira niyan ay the limit of negative 4 delta x over x plus delta x multiplied by x all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay, let's continue finding the derivative of y is equal to 4 over x. Okay, step 4 na tayo. Ang huli natin nakuha ay the limit of negative 4 delta x over x plus delta x times x over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay. So, paano ba natin masisimplify yan? Dahil meron tayong complex fraction, kung kanina, yung nasa numerator natin ay two dissimilar fraction, dito, ang nasa numerator ay isang term na lang, isang fraction na lang. So, pwede na natin yan masimplify. Okay, paano? We can use this idea, a over b is equal to a multiplied by 1 over b. Or a over b is equal to the numerator multiplied by the reciprocal of the denominator. So, applying this idea, it will be, numerator natin, the limit of negative 4 delta x over x plus delta x times x as delta x approaches to 0. Multiply by the reciprocal of the denominator, delta x. So, ano ba yung reciprocal niyan? 1 over delta x. Okay? Simplifying this, pag sinimplify natin yan, using multiplication, mawawala si delta x. Bakit? Delta x over delta x will give you 1. So, in simplest form, the limit of negative 4 over delta x over x plus delta x times x as delta x approaches to 0. O, may masisimplify pa ba tayo dyan? Wala na. Yan na yung simplest form. So, we can now substitute delta x by 0. Okay? For step 5, negative 4x plus delta x times x. So, yan yung function na nakuha natin. Okay, we will substitute delta x by 0. So, it will be negative 4 x plus 0 times x. So, ang magiging sagot natin is negative 4 over x times x in simplest form, negative 4 over x squared. So, yan na yung derivative ng ating function y is equal to 4 over x. But what if we have a function y is equal to the square root of 2x minus 7? So we wish to find the derivative of this function at any given point. For the step 1, we'll find f of x and f of x plus delta x. So ang ating f of x is the square root of 2x minus 7. Ang ating f of x plus delta x will be the square root of 2x, and we will substitute x by the square root by x plus delta x. So it will be the square root of 2 multiplied by x plus delta x minus 7. Okay? Simplifying this using distributive property, we'll have the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x minus 7. Okay, since we now have the f of x plus delta x and the f of x, we can now use the definition for the derivative. Ayan. So we'll substitute f of x plus delta x and f of x to their corresponding values. We'll have the limit, ano yung f of x plus delta x natin? Yan. So the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x minus 7 minus our f of x, the square root of 2x minus 7. All over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay, simplifying the function by distributing negative 1 to f of x, kasi pwede natin yan masimplify pa. So, for step 3, the limit of the f of x plus delta x, so we'll copy that, minus, ayan, the square root of 2x plus 7, ayan, all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Kung titignan yung numerator natin, we can still simplify it by adding negative 7 and 7. Okay? And it will be 0. So, ang simplest form yan is the limit of the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x minus the square root of 2x all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Pero yan na ba yun? Hindi pa. Kasi pwede pa natin siyang masimplify. Paano? Using conjugation. We can simplify rational expression using conjugation. Okay, ano ba yung idea ng conjugation? If we have a minus b, ang conjugate niyan is a plus b. If we have a plus b, ang conjugate niyan is a minus b. Yung opposite operation of the given binomial. Okay? Kung ang binomial natin ay nasa numerator at ang operation niyan ay subtraction. So, ang mangyayari dyan, square root of 2x plus 2 delta x. Ayan, square root of 2x. So, ang magiging operation niyan is plus. At kung ano yung nasa numerator, yun din yung nasa denominator. Okay? Bakit? Kasi kung ano yung nasa numerator at nasa denominator, dapat parehas. So that it will be equal to 1. Para hindi magbabago yung value. Yung form magbabago, but yung value hindi ng ating function. Okay? So, paano ba natin yan i-multiply? Okay? If we are given the sum and difference of two binomials, and a minus b, for instance, a plus b. Okay, pag minultiply natin yan, we can get a squared minus b squared, or the square of the first term minus the square of the second term. Magamitin natin yung idea na yan. So, let's square the first term, the square of the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x, minus the square of the second term, minus the square of the square root of 2x. And then, we will multiply the denominators delta x times the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x plus the square root of 2x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay, pwede ba natin yan ma-simplify? Pwede pa. Kung titingnan nyo yung numerator natin, pwedeng mawala si square root dyan. Paano? O, tingnan yung ating second term, the square root of 2x. Ayan. The square of the square root of 2x is equal to the 2x raised to 2 over 2. Okay? Yan yung exponential form. Ganon din sa first term. So, pag sinimplify natin ang 2 over 2 equal kay 1. Okay? So, mawawala si square root and si 2. Ayan. So, pag sinimplify natin yan, it will be the limit of 2x plus 2 delta x minus 2x over delta x multiplied by the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x plus the square root of 2x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay, may masisimplify pa ba dyan? Meron pa. Kung titignan nyo yung numerator natin, we have 2x and negative 2x. So, 2x minus 2x, it will be 0. So, in simplest form, we have the limit of 2 delta x over delta x multiplied by the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x plus the square root of 2x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay, let's continue finding the derivative of the function y is equal to the square root of 2x minus 7. So, ang huli natin nakuha is the limit of the 2 delta x over delta x multiplied by the square root of 2x plus 2 delta x plus the square root of 2x as delta x approaches to 0. So, kung nakikita yung numerator at denominator, meron tayong common element. Ibig sabihin, may masisimplify pa tayo. So, ano masisimplify natin? Yung delta x, pwede natin yan ma-eliminate using division because it is equal to 1. So, ang mangyari dyan, yan, mawawala yan. It is equal to 1. Kaya, in simplest form, the limit of 2, ayan, over square root of 2x plus 2 delta x plus the square root of 2x as delta x approaches to 0. Kung titingnan nyo, wala na tayong masisimplify. Pag wala na tayong masimplify, we can now use or we can now find the limit as delta x approaches to 0. So, paano natin yan hanapin? In step 5, ayan, yung denominator natin at yung numerator. We will just substitute delta x by 0. So, it will be 2 over square root of 2x plus 2 times 0 plus the square root of 2x. Okay? Simplifying that, it will be 2 over the square root of 2x plus the square root of 2x. So, nawala si 2 kasi may multiply siya sa 0. Okay? Multiplying the, adding the denominator, it will be the 2 over the 2 square root of 2x. Okay? Dahil meron tayong ulit common element which is 2, using division, it will be equal to 1. Ayan. So, it will be 1 over the square root of 2x. So, ito na yung derivative at any point in the function y is equal to the square root of 2x minus 7. So, kung kanina, hinanap lang natin derivative at any point in the curve, ngayon, we'll have a specific point. Okay? We'll find the slope of the line tangent to the graph of the function defined by y is equal to 7x squared minus 5x plus 2 at 1, 4. So, meron tayong specific point which is 1, 4. Okay? And we'll also find or write the equation of the tangent line. So, ang given natin is y is equal to 7x squared minus 5x plus 2. So, we wish to find the derivative at 1, 4. Pero, hindi muna natin mahahanap yung derivative at a specific point. Ang gagawin muna natin is to find the derivative at any given point. So, gagawin lang natin yung process na ginawa natin kanina. So, for step 1, we wish to find f of x and f of x plus delta x. So, ang ating f of x ay 7x squared minus 5x plus 2. At ang ating f of x plus delta x is 7x squared. So, we will substitute x by x plus delta x. It will be 7 multiplied by the square of x plus delta x minus 5x. So, we will substitute x by x plus delta x. It will be x plus delta x plus 2. Okay, simplifying this. Paano ba yan i-simplify? We have 7 multiplied by the square of x plus delta x. Pag meron tayong square of a binomial or the square of the sum of binomial, okay, the square of the sum of binomial is equal to the square of the first term plus twice the product of the first and the second terms plus the square of the last term. Okay, paano ba natin yan gagawin? Let's apply it to our given, the square of x plus delta x. So, ano ba yung square ng first term? X squared plus twice the product of the first and the second terms. So, it will be 2x times delta x, and the square of the last term, the square of delta x. Okay? Minus 5x plus delta x plus 2. Okay. So, we will distribute 7 and we will distribute negative 5 using distributive property. It will be 7x squared plus 14x delta x multiplied by delta x plus 7 multiplied by the square of delta x minus 5x minus 5 delta x plus 2. Okay? So, yan na ba yun? Yes, yan na yung simplest form ng ating f of x plus delta x. Diba? Ang haba. So, now, let's move to step 2. So, we can now use the formula for the derivative. Okay? We will substitute f of x plus delta x and f of x. Okay? We will substitute their corresponding values. Okay? So, it will be the limit. Ano ba yung f of x plus delta x natin? Yan. So, 7x squared plus 14x multiplied by delta x plus 7 multiplied by the square root of delta x minus 5x minus 5 delta x plus 2 minus our f of x, ayan, minus 7x squared minus 5x plus 2 all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. Okay. Next, for step 3, ano ba yung ginagawa natin? We will distribute negative 1 to f of x. So, it will be, copy lang natin yung ating f of x plus delta x. So, it will be minus 7x squared plus 5x minus 2 all over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. O, tingnan yung numerator. Diba, mahaba yan. Pero meron tayong masisimplify dyan. So, pwede tayong mag-eliminate ng 7x squared and negative 7x squared. Meron pa. Negative 5x and positive 5x at 2 and negative 2. It will give us all zeros. So, ang magiging sagot is the limit of 14x multiplied by delta x plus 7 multiplied by the square of delta x minus 5 delta x over delta x as delta x approaches to 0. O, paano natin yan masisimplify? Kung titingnan nyo yung numerator, meron tayong common factor. Ano yung magkakapareha sa kada term? Ang magkakapareha sa kada term or ang common factor natin is delta x. Okay, we can factor out delta x. So, ang matitira sa 14x delta x is 14x. Ang matitira sa 7 square of delta x is 7 delta x. At ang matitira sa negative 5 delta x is negative 5. Okay? All over delta x. Okay. Meron ba tayong madi-divide dyan? Meron. We have delta x na nasa numerator and delta x na nasa denominator. So, it will give us 1. So, simplifying that, we will have the limit of 14x plus 7 delta x minus 5 as delta x approaches to 0. Okay, may masisimplify pa ba tayo sa given natin? Wala na. Okay, wala na naman na masisimplify dyan. Wala na ma-factor out. Therefore, we can now find the limit as delta x approaches to 0. So, we will substitute delta x by 0. So, it will be 14x plus 7 delta x minus 5. So, ang delta x, papalitan natin ng 0. So, ang sagot ay 14x minus 5. So, mawawala na si 7. So, it will be the derivative or the slope of the tangent line at any given point. Since we already found the slope of the tangent line at any given point, pero meron tayong hinahanap kasi at 1,4 yung hinahanap natin. So, ang gagawin natin, using dy over dx is equal to 14x minus 5 at any given point x f of x. We will be using this in order to find the slope of a tangent line at 1, 4. So, ang ating point is 1, 4 at ang ating abscissa is, or ating x-coordinate is 1. Okay? So, using what we have found, which is 14x minus 5, we will substitute to x by 1. So, it will be 14x will be 1. 14 times 1 minus 5. Simplifying this, 14 minus 5, it will give you 9 as the slope of the tangent line at 1, 4. So, nasagot natin yung A. Okay? For the B, we need to answer or we need to find the equation of the tangent line. Okay? Paano ba natin hanapin yung equation ng tangent line? Actually, marami tayong formula in finding the equation of a line. Pero dito, meron tayong given na point. Ayan. At meron tayong given na slope. Dalawa lang yung given natin. So, ang pwede natin gamitin is point-slope form. Okay, ano ba yung point-slope form? Ito ay y minus y sub 1 is equal to m times x minus x sub 1. Okay? For our point, let x sub 1 and y sub 1 be equal to 1, 4. And our slope be equal to 9. Okay? So, using what we have, we will substitute x sub 1, y sub 1, and m. Okay? Next, so we have y minus y sub 1 is equal to m multiplied by x minus x sub 1. So, we will substitute x sub 1, y sub 1, and m to their corresponding values. We'll have, ayan. So, ating y sub 1 is 4. Ating x sub 1 is 1 at ang ating slope is 9. Okay? Simplifying this using distributive property, we will distribute 9 to x minus 1. It will be y minus 4 is equal to 9x minus 9. Okay? Next, how can we simplify this? O, dapat y lang yung matitira sa left side. O, paano yun? We can add 4 to both sides of the equation using addition property of equality. So, it will be y minus 4 plus 4 is equal to 9x minus 9 plus 4. Kung nag-add tayo sa kabilang side, ganoon din sa kabilang side. Okay? So, y minus 4 plus 4, it will be 0. So, it will be y 9x is equal to 9x. Negative 9 plus 4 is negative 5. So, ang ating equation for the tangent line is y is equal to 9x minus 5. Thank you, everyone. If you have questions, you can message your corresponding basic calculus teacher on their respective.
Happy learning at home with lessons made easy by Olivarian GoTeach. One proud Olivarian.